I'm Mary at Espresso Press Design. Thank you for visiting today, May 27th, 2025. I appreciate it so much. And today we're going to do some more marker stamping, but it's a little more rustic and a little more muted, and it's for people who might shy away from those very bright colors, which I do as well sometimes because I do like a rustic boho look. So first let me get to my thank yous. Thank you so much to all my customers. You really saved me this month. By May 15th I thought, boy, I'm in dire straits. I'm not going to make my quota, and then you came to the rescue, so I appreciate it so much. Rhonda, Melinda, Morgan, Sierra Moon, Lisa, thank you so much for your generous order. Allison, Connie, Sue, MJ, Kate, another Allison, and another Rhonda, Raven, and Pamela. So first a little show and tell, because I don't know if this is really worth a video. Let me do my product first. This is butterfly labels, and they are 20 pages of a variety of labels, styles, but all butterflies. Quite a few of them are specimen type labels, and some of them you can include your own stamping. So if you like butterflies, and you like labels, and you like specimen labels, and you like adding your own touch, this is the product for you. So that's 20 pages. Okay, so let's get started. You would not believe what I did. I'm going to tell you in a moment. Okay, so we all have them. You know, the paint chips. I have like a gazillion of them. So what I did was I took a bunch. I'm going to be needing this mat, so I might as well give you a nice white background so you can see this. I took a bunch and I cut them up like so, and then I pulled them at random and made color palette. I was so surprised at how nice this palette actually is. But here, I have them all in here. Cut a whole bunch up. I'll probably end up removing a bunch of neutrals because most of the paint colors in my house are neutral. But a lot of fun, especially for me, because I love exploring color. I love doing swatches, and along with the palette cards, homemade magazine palette cards for abstracts and palette inspiration. This is just another idea for when you just want to have a color play and you want to try some new color combinations, because we all have a tendency to just gravitate toward the same colors. And in my particular case, even though I have a pretty full range palette here, and I can mix pretty much everything I want, I still gravitate toward the same colors. So what I did was, I started this video and then looked up and my screen was blank and realized I forgot to erase my card. So I am starting over, and I'm just going to go a little faster so I can get this all in and not be here until 9 o'clock. editing. Okay, so this is for people who would like to try the marker stamping, which we've done in the past, but don't like the bright colors. And I agree, sometimes I don't as well. I like a more rustic look. So what I did was I did some on coffee dyed envelopes, and this was my first one with my new foam stamps. And then there we go. Take the back. There's the back of this one and that one. And I like the green too. So I just made a bunch of envelopes. And then I moved on to, I had some security envelopes and I made some pockets. And I had to repair them all because the flap fell completely off the pocket. So I had to repair the one side completely. So I did that. So I went around the house searching for everything I could find that was kraft paper. So I got some kraft bags, and you can make your own gift bags. You can make your own gift bags out of paper bags. And they look quite cool if you ask me. And then I coffee dyed some index cards. So that's what we're going to work on today. That, and then I moved on and did some tape, water activated packing tape, and that is where I was when my screen went dark. So I'm starting over, and I thought I had some words on there too, but apparently not, unless it came off. Looks like it came off. There's a word right there. Didn't turn out very, no, that's actually a line. Okay, thought I had some words on both of them. But okay, so that's what we're going to do today, and instead of starting with 2 rows, 2 lines, I'm only going to do 1. And so what you'll need are your foam stamps, assorted foam stamps. I'm going to show you that you can use your rubber stamp, silicone stamps with some words, little word here, and you can use your rubber stamps as well for marker stamping. And the beauty is you don't have to worry about it because the marker washes off very well and it will not ruin your stamps. So I tried, let me say this, I did try marker smushing like you do ink smushing. The coffee seems to cause a resist, so it doesn't turn out so well. I did this same thing on here and it didn't turn out at all because it will not absorb into the paper fast enough, and I kind of suspected that, so I did it again on white and it turned out much better. So keep that in mind if you're using coffee dyed. Coffee has a tendency to put a film, a layer between your stamping and your the actual paper, and then it seems to cause a little bit of a resistance. So what I did, I have some water activated packing tape. Luckily I still have some left. So I just taped it at each end here so I could get it nice and flat. And I'm hopefully going to remember here to show you several things you can do with this. Several ways you can do this. I have a plastic placemat here. So let's just get one out of the way here. Let's try it with this. You'll need your washable markers, your kid washable markers. I got all these at Walmart between $2 and $4. And I really, Crayola would be great too, but I like Crazy Art bold colors, so I went with Crazy Art. They didn't have as much of a selection in Crayola, surprisingly. So I went with Crazy Art, but Crayola, of course, does have some beautiful, vibrant colors. And basically, what I did was, should I do cool colors? I'm going to stick with warm. Yeah. I took a group of warm colors. That's how I have a tendency to go. Either do warm or cool, so I don't end up with anything mud. So I'm just going to get a bunch of warm colors here. And I'm going to start with this one, I think. And you can do something like this. Hopefully this works. I've only done it on a rubber stamp. And pick up some marker. We will see. Maybe I'll try it on here. See how that works. Because if it doesn't work, I'm going to be coloring the stamp. Oh, okay. Works okay. And I still have some previous color on there. You can do it like that. You can color your stamp, which is basically what I usually do. And this is probably still going to be a little muddy because I see my previous blue on there. Okay, a little better. And you get a pretty clear image, just, you know, what I would call dry on dry. Or you can take some water, spray bottle, and go under a light mist. And stamp like that. Or you can wet your paper and wait until it's non-shiny. Let me hurry up here and get the color on there. Okay. It's still a little shiny, but give it a tap. And there you go. That's more of a watercolor look. Okay? So you can do that any way you desire. So I'm going to go along this row here with this color. Then I'm going to add some more colors. That'll dry lighter. I think it's still a little wet there unless it has some blue in it. And I'm just going to go with my usual way for time's sake here. And what I wanted to see today particularly was how colors layer. And I discovered that in the last tape rule that they do say stay semi-transparent. So you can vaguely see the layers, probably depending upon which colors you use. So if you used a light orange and a dark purple, you would see more transparency than if you used two colors similar in value, like an orange and a red, for example. Okay, so that's what I did. This is pretty rudimentary. And then I just progressively added my colors. And what am I going to do? I think I'm going to change my stamp as well. So I have a little yin-yang here. And then I just sometimes I layered, sometimes I didn't. And you can make these whatever style floats your boat. And let me tell you what I picked up at Goodwill yesterday. I have been looking for these for quite a while so I can make some words. And that is some letter stamps. And apparently they're not as popular as they used to be. And I got a whole canister of letter stamps in a font that's not too bad, because I've been searching online, but the fonts are often kid-like and a little crazy. And I wanted something a little more simple. So I finally found it yesterday. And I got probably between $200 and $250 worth of punches for $20. And I saw it the day before. I didn't buy it. And then I thought, this is probably too good of a deal to pass up. Even though I have some of them and I don't know where I'm going to put them. And then I went back and it was still there. And I was so happy it was still there. Because really, you know, some of them I probably would end up eventually buying because I've wanted them for a while. Like a butterfly. I wish they would have had a heart, but they didn't, surprisingly. Because sometimes punches are so much faster than dies. And die cutting. So I hope you can see I'm still coloring this. Okay. Okay, it seems pretty clean. Okay, so that's pretty much how I did that. So let me get a dark purple here and show you. Here are some samples of the using stamps, and actually they come out better for me than using ink. And as I said, you don't have to worry about it because these will wash off completely. Let me just do a tester here to make sure. Okay, there we go. This isn't like using acrylics on your stamps. And you can add some lettering. Let me get, I think I have a very dark purple somewhere. Let me get that. So you can see that a little better. Okay, so I can't believe I did that today. But that's okay. I can make another roll here of this, which is something I will use a lot of. And I've wanted to do something with this packing tape for quite some time. So as you can see, the colors are much more muted than if you had put that on white paper. Even the primary colors, even green and brown. Although brown would probably be a little more subdued. I don't know if, I think maybe I have one tan in this, one of these sets. You don't see tan too often in kid markers. Unless you buy a better set. So, okay, there you go. That's how I did the tape, pretty much. And let me quick show. Maybe I'll just move on to a card here. Move this up a little bit. Let's do the flower. Let's go with this. I'm going to show you a rubber stamp here as well. So you can have a lot of fun with these foam stamps. And I see them all the time. And my last several visits to Goodwill have been for more like materials and tools. So I can begin making my own things more and being more creative. Not to mention, now that Joann's is gone and Michael's is gone from my area, this one I probably should have sprayed, especially on coffee dyed paper. You might come out a little distressed. Okay, not too bad. I pressed very hard. Okay, let me get 3 of those on there. Where are we? 25. And then I'll try some rubber stamping. With another color and see how that layers. I really wish marker smushing would have worked. I'm going to leave that center open. Okay, and I should have sprayed that one too. Would have made my life easier. And excuse my hands, they're still stained from the last time. Okay, I'm going to go in with a different flower. Let's try this one. Let me try this purple. See how this is going to work if I just not so well. So I'm going to spray I'm probably going to spray my paper or wet my paper with a brush. So it doesn't matter if that dries, because I'm going to re-wet it. And hopefully it doesn't matter. Okay. Not as dark as I would have thought. So let me try. But it's still translucent. So I can see the other petal through that flower, which is something I was wondering. Okay. Let's spray the paper. See what happens. I might be running into the same issue where the coffee, yeah, okay, that's not as good as it turns out, as it turned out on here. Okay, the coffee is interfering probably with this too. So I'm going to go in there with a word. See what happens. Make that just fade into the background, hopefully. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm coloring my stamp. So this is, I think this is tons of fun. Because you don't need, just take out the simplest things and see what you can create. See what happens. And you don't have to get like, do you ever get like, well, I don't want to start that because first of all, I don't have enough time to clean up everything in my room. So sometimes that prevents you from even beginning. I think I want some dots on there. I'm going to put some bright dots everywhere. On that tape as well. I have to make another foam stamp with tiny dots. Okay. Okay. Geez, I barely even see those. Yeah, it's the coffee. Coffee's interfering. Let me go up here and put some up here. Yeah, sometimes I don't even use that stuff anymore. I did the other day and it was a disaster because I put all those envelopes in the oven that was too hot. Didn't realize it was so hot. And then, of course, all of the windows turned into shrinky dinks. Okay, well, I hardly caught any. But that shows up better on this kraft paper than it does on, find a spot here, than it does on that coffee guide paper. Yeah, there we go. You can see a few dots there, hopefully. Okay, I'm going to try something else here. Maybe this will go faster. You can do this. And you can do some paper smushing into that. I've done that before in another video. Let's try this. Let's see what happens. Okay, that showed up. Not as well as I hoped, but okay, there we go. That showed up. Okay, is there any other area I don't particularly like? Everything else looks pretty good. Let's see. All right. In for a penny, in for a pound. Okay. Okay. Now I like that. So, there we go. 2 projects. I like the kraft paper better than the coffee dyed paper, even though I did not have as much problem on the first envelopes as I did on these index cards. That was coffee dyed. These were all coffee dyed. I did not have as much problem. So, get this unrolled here. Don't forget all these different types of materials and backgrounds, and you can also try painting a neutral background. Gray or browns, vintage, tea stain color, and make these bright marker colors more muted to suit yourself. And you know, I particularly chose, I love red and I love blue, but I particularly chose the ones that would be the most bright and in your face to show you how muted they really do get, okay? Because most people, even if they like vintage, they still like red. So, okay everyone, this turned out better than the first time, and don't forget to get out all your muted papers and give the marker stamping a play, and you might be surprised how much how you actually do like the bright colors if they're just muted a little bit. Okay, you have a great day and a great week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.